commemorating the Sermon on the Mount, the hill. And I'm not very bright, as you're discovering. And a light went on, and I said to myself, I'm all alone. You know, there's nobody for miles. I said, oh my God, I think he's serious. And I walked out on the balcony. When you're on holy pilgrimage, you get wackier than usual. And I'm looking up at the sky, staring out over the whole Sea of Galilee. I said, is this what I'm supposed to do? You have to hunger and thirst for justice? You have to be a peacemaker? You have to love the enemies of the people of your nation to follow this guy? And I thought, and I thought, and I thought, and I said, okay, God, I dedicate my life to the Sermon on the Mount, trying to live out these Beatitudes and working for peace and justice on one condition. If you give me a son. Now, this was a sure sign I was called to be a Jesuit, because I was looking for a loophole here. I put my fist down on the balcony, and I'm not kidding you. All of a sudden, there were these loud explosions, and 3 Israeli jets fell from the sky, breaking the sound barrier, setting off these sonic booms, and they swooped right down on the Sea of Galilee, coming right at me. And I ducked, and they flew over my head, and I thought, okay, I'll work for peace and justice. I know, you don't ask for signs. I've learned that. I hope I'm growing up a little bit. For a split second, I opened my eyes just in case. And what did I see? The reality of the world, which is mass murder. Mass murder. Human beings killing human beings. Sisters and brothers killing sisters and brothers in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, at the place where he said, love your enemies. I saw it. It would change any of your lives if you had lived through that. And those bombers went up to 15 miles away and dropped a whole bunch of bombs. And the next day I saw the reality of the war. And I entered the Jesuits and I hit the ground running and got involved in all the peace and justice groups like many of you. And befriended Daniel, Philip Barrett, and joined Pax Christi in the Fellowship of Reconciliation, and studying Gandhi and King and Merton and Dorothy Day, trying to figure out how do you work for peace and justice. And can I tell you one other story on my journey on the road to peace? We were getting these, those of you involved in the movement, we were getting these terrible letters from the Jesuits in the early 80s from the Jesuits of El Salvador saying, your government is funding the soldiers who are killing our people, do something. So I asked to go and live there. And in the summer of 1985, I went to live and work in El Salvador at the height of the war, which killed some 80,000 people, including the great Archbishop Romero, 4 churchmen, and so forth. And we were sent to work out in this refugee camps as the bombs were falling, and these 1,000 people had all lost all their loved ones. And the theory was, when the death squads came in to kill people, we'll send out the white, gringo, North American Jesuit, maybe they'll kill him and leave us alone. Talk about working through your nonviolence quickly, because this is what I did. These young kids who were the death squads would come up to us with machine guns, and I'm like, hi, how you doing? Can I help you? Can you eat anything? And it was pretty exciting. Anyway, I'm there 1 week, and we're brought into big Jesuit university in downtown El Salvador, into the office of the university president, who's this world-famous theologian and philosopher, originally from Spain, named Ignacio Ellacuría. And we sit down in his office. There were a group of 5 of us Jesuits. We were like 24 years old, 23 years old from the States. And this guy used to write Oscar Romero's pastoral letters. He's an incredible person. This is his opening sentence to us. He doesn't say, I'm so happy you're here. How was your trip? Can I get you anything? It's not like that at all. And the bombs are following the death. He goes like this. The purpose of the Jesuit University here in El Salvador is to promote the reign of God. I was just flown. Now you all here at St. Ambrose talk like that, right? In South Lake City, is that the way people talk?
Of course.
As I always joke, I was working at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., run by the Jesuits. I didn't think the reign of God was in their top 25 list. They were taking millions from the Pentagon. They had this program, they still do, where they teach young Catholic kids how to use machine guns and go kill people. Can you imagine? It's called ROTC. I could go on. And this guy's saying the whole point of any Christian institution is the reign of God. That's the point. It's the next thing he said that I invite you to think about because it's shocking. He said, however, in El Salvador, we have learned that you can no longer say, I'm for the reign of God, the kingdom of God, unless you stand up publicly, actively against the anti-reign. You can no longer say, I'm for peace. We're all for peace. Unless you stand up publicly, actively against war. You can no longer say, I'm for the good, philosophically, doing the good, unless you stand up publicly, actively against systemic, structured, institutionalized, globalized evil. This is pure Gandhi, which Gandhi said, we're in a whole new world now. Therefore, Gandhi said, non-cooperation with evil is as much a duty as cooperation with good. If you don't stand up and resist the evil, your goodness becomes silence and complicity in the structures of evil that are decimating the planet. And so Ellacuría then went on to say, therefore, here in El Salvador, we are standing up against the junta, the dictatorship that's controlling the country. We're against the military, the paramilitary, all the death squads that are roaming around and executing people. We're against all the U.S. military aid that funds the whole thing. We're against the U.S. bombings. We're against the violence of the FMLN rebels. We're against the violence of starvation and disease and poverty, which is killing our poor people. We're against violence on all sides, and everybody hates us. And this is what it means to be a Christian. Are there any questions? Incredible. When I met him, they were receiving 10 to 15 death threats a day for 7 years. Their house had been bombed 21 times. That night, the Jesuits at the university had a big dinner party for us. They're saying, looking around, the whole little house we're in was covered with bullet holes. You know, and they said, we're not leaving. Just even stepping outside of the faith, they'd say, to be a human being in such a place is to stand up and defend life for our suffering people. And they're the ones who sent me out into this refugee camp. It was a life-changing experience. You all know what happened with Nelson Mandela, right? 20 years ago, November 16th, 1989, at 1 in the morning, 28 soldiers, 19 of them trained in Georgia at Fort Benning at the School of the Americas, where we train all the dictators, death squads of Latin America, stormed that Jesuit house, woke up all the Jesuit priests in there, forced them outside, 6 of them were home. They were after Ellacuría, made them lie down on the ground, and then shot and killed them. And not to gross you out, but after they killed them, they removed their brains and left their brains next to their dead bodies. The message being what? As when I went shortly afterwards and met John Sabino's friend. What's the message from the death squads? This is what you get if you think. Don't think about the world and try to do something, or something bad's going to happen to you. Something like that. You'll be executed. This is deterrence against organized movements for justice and peace, against empires and wars. That's where I'm coming from tonight. If you had known these great people, you know, going to prison for me seems like a natural thing now, you know. So I got to try everything you can for peace and justice. Bringing in speakers, organizing marches, prayer services, vigils, speaking to the media, meeting politicians, giving lectures, writing books. And Gandhi says there comes a point when you have to cross the line and break the laws which legalize mass murder in your name. And that's when I took up nonviolent civil disobedience. And now I've been arrested about 75 times, and I'm an ex-con, and I can never vote, and I have a problem with recidivism. But that's another story.